Hey guys, this is Smitethis. Today we're taking a look at Darkest Dungeon. I'll be running through the tutorial and explaining things as I go about the game, so hopefully we can get you guys started and have an awesome run at this amazing game. So I have played a little bit on one profile. I'm in week 24, so I got basically past the first boss or two and decided let's try and walk through it since I know a little bit, and I'm not going to make a complete fool of myself. Fingers crossed. Alright, let's jump into it.
You will arrive along the old road. It winds with a troubling serpent-like suggestion through the corrupted countryside, leading only, I fear, to ever more tenebrous places. There is a sickness in the ancient pitted cobbles of the old road, and on its writhing path you will face viciousness, violence, and perhaps other damnably transcendent terrors. So steel yourself, and remember there can be no bravery without madness. The old road will take you to hell, but in that gaping abyss, we will find our redemption.
Along with the story intro, amazing. So that guy you saw who looked totally cool driving the carriage, he's a pain in the butt. That's the only time he will ever look cool. He is the caretaker of our little hamlet. Oh, it looks so nice and shiny here. He is a pain, and I'll explain that later. But here we are. Here's our main dungeon crawl screen. Goodbye, tutorial. So here's our characters. So we have a group of 2. Typically there's a group of 4, unless you're brave or they're stupid. Depends on how you like to play. So you have 4 characters. You have your first slot here, which will be your front man, and then you have your characters following. And so this is basically your quest, your personal character that you have selected. You have your map and your inventory, and your torchlight. So you start off in a little room right here, and you travel to different rooms just by selecting it, and then walking along this path, which you can come across different encounters like treasure, fights, traps, things like that, or nothing at all. So explain a little bit of torchlight. So we have 100% right now, which gives you a big bonus to scouting at the map to see what's ahead, and also a bonus to surprise monsters, which hopefully we'll see when we fight the guys in the tutorial. As the light goes down, you will become able to take more stress damage, which I'll explain stress in a second. You will get better loot. Monsters will be harder though, so there are some give and takes of doing so. So here's your character. You have your HP and your stress level. The stress level will fill up with little white bars, and at certain points of stress level you will get some negative effects or positive effects, but rarely. So the negative effects typically affect your character's stress, their sanity. They will go absolute crazy, and it can affect your entire party, so they can increase the stress of other members by just talking like paranoia. So they'll say stuff and they'll make the other members worried. So Renald, our Crusader, he is a melee. He does have AoE abilities. So if we take a look, he's at 33 health, 0 stress. Since we're not in combat, it doesn't show an accuracy skill level. But he has a 5 chance for critical, damage, dodge, speed. All that could be increased with trinkets, and or upgrading your items and your skills, which we'll get to. So trinkets go here, items, they keep the same items, you just upgrade them. So they have different skills. So he's a melee character mainly. He does have a ranged spell. So this is Smite, a basic accuracy of 85, plus a 15% damage bonus versus unholy characters, where I'll show you what characters are classified as we come. So he can attack. See the 2 little yellow dots right above Smite by my mouse? He can attack in the first 2 positions. So either way, he can use this skill. Ranged, his Zealous Accusation, you see, has a damage modification of -40. That's because it's an AoE. So certain skills have bonus or minus to damage modifications depending on what they do. So you could see that it's an AoE because the lines between the bar are to the 2 circles. If there's a line there, that means it's going to hit both of them, where this is just a single target. Stunning blow, low damage, but has a chance to stun and then, protect himself. So this character, he's mainly ranged. He does have, a melee ability. He can attack with melee from the first 3 slots in the group. His pistol has to be 2nd to the 4th. Here's an AoE, which is a lovely skill. Hits the first 3 characters. And then tracking shot gives you can see a big bonus to the character. It doesn't tell you how many rounds the bonuses last, but you'll get a little icon right here you can hover over. It tells you. But you can see the damage modification is bad. And then you have a swap skill where you can swap back and forth. So let's go ahead and move on.
Brigands have run up these lanes. Keep to the side path. The hamlet is just ahead.
So you move back and forth with A and D. W to select items as you come across. We'll hit a brigand.
Dispatch this thug in brutal fashion, that all may hear of your arrival.
Kill the enemy. So we'll attack with melee. This one does bleed. I like to add effects, more damage over time, better. Because you won't always hit, so it's good to have some guaranteed damage. Let's see. We'll just smite them.
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
So basic enemies can drop loot. Attack, they die. We'll come to corpses here in a second. So you'll come across objects. You'll see in the map. Yeah, you scout, you can see these ahead of time, but when you come across them, you see how the torch moves over. So that's when you're about to encounter them. So watch out for traps. So here's the tent. Oh, good. Some loot inside.
Unchecked. There is much to be found in forgotten places.
Certain items are bad, so it's a risk taking them on. It's at your own will.
An ambush. Send these vermin a message. The rightful owner has returned, and their kind is no longer welcome.
Uh-oh. See, they swap positions, which allows me not to use these 2 abilities because, well, he's in the first slot, and none of these work in the first slot. So, that is bad. We're actually going to take our first chance of moving here. Uh-oh. Man, you just wasted my entire turn. I guess that's okay. We could just melee this out. So as you can see, here's the little debuff counter, -2 to dodge for 2 rounds. And there's a little icon that comes up here on the side that you'll see that tells you who still has to go this round. Good, keep out for it because you got to know when to play characters and what to do. So we'll hover over this guy. See how he's a big guy. He actually takes up 2 spots. That's why his meter's so big. You can fit up to 4. I can only hit the first 2 characters. These aren't 2 the 2 slots. These aren't 2 slots. He takes up 2. That's why with this ability I can only hit him. So you can see that he's a brigand. He's a human with -1 speed, so usually will attack later. At the beginning of the round, you saw I was surprised I got the little orange icon, so that means they get to go first regardless of speed. You can see that they have like criticals, health, their resistances, and their skills. So point blank shots, good skill. Gotta be careful of that. So we'll just attack them. Here's a debuff. Let's do tracking shot. Give a bonus to us. 3 rounds. That skill, this Brigade used is a pain. 2 to 3 damage per shot. Could really stack up on a character. Consistent damage, nice. You're doing good with dodges there, man.
Monster's size has no intrinsic merit.
See, that was
Unless inordinate exsanguination be considered a virtue.
so. Doing criticals can reduce your character stress and also the rest of the party members, depending on how they match up. So it actually reduces stress for both of them. So let's go ahead and smack him. And say goodbye, Brigand.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
So we'll take our loot. So now we completed the quest. We could either return to the hamlet or continue adventuring. That's up to you. You gotta weigh the risks of taking your loot and running as it is, or continuing and risking your characters and loot and stuff like that. So it all depends on the situation, but be mindful of your character stress and health because it's expensive to fix them. We're gonna continue because this is the tutorial. Sometimes when enemies die, they will drop a corpse, and you can't get. It's hard to explain, but say the big guy dropped a corpse, he will still take up those first 2 slots, and I can't attack the 3rd guy until that corpse is gone. Corpse do degenerate over a pretty quick amount of time, but you got to be mindful of that. Characters that have like bleed, blight, negative effects on them, they won't crit a corpse. That's probably why that one didn't. So this little slot right here, you can actually drag an item like a key or something to unlock special compartments or detrap something or purge it of evil, which you'll come across like ruined altars, things like that. Oh, got a blight effect. Doesn't matter, we'll return. So let's go over food. Your characters through a dungeon crawl will eat food. So you want to make sure that you have enough. Plus they also heal 1 HP. Your characters will be just traveling along and they'll need to eat. And if you don't eat, they take 20% damage and can take some stress hits. Then you got your gold, which, cure people, buy trinkets, things like that. So these little purple are heirlooms. Heirlooms help you upgrade your buildings at your base, and then onyx is just worth the gold. Sometimes it's good to look in like, oh, should I keep this and drop this when your loot gets too full. So let's return back. Here's your victory screen. So I got 8 crests. That's your main currency for them. These ones are harder to get. These come in abundance. Your collected treasure. So any unused items and collected items throughout will be exchanged for gold, except trinkets, items you can actually use to upgrade your characters. I don't know what the trade-off is for buying food at the beginning of a round or beginning of a dungeon and the turnaround rate of selling it at the end, but probably not very high. And then your crest rewards. So on this screen, you get your characters, final XP, explanation. So he walks away with some stress, 6. He gets 2 resolves. So resolves only gained when you complete a quest, not when you fail or run away. And then this little glowing icon is if he gets a negative effect or a bonus. Yep, so he gets more stress damage in the wield. So we will avoid the wield with him. To the hamlet.
Welcome home, such as it is. This squalid hamlet, these corrupted lands, they are yours now, and you are bound to them.
Thank you. Best gift ever. Okay, so this is the activity log. So at the end of the quest, you'll get this pop-up every time. Your quest goals for the future to see what you've accomplished, what you have to do. Mainly bosses, killing creatures, things like that. This is the actual activity part. It explains what characters did while you were gone. Like, oh, relieve this stress, or this person died previous match, or he gambled too much of your money away, things like that. Um, so first off, this is your hamlet. Different buildings do different things. This is your roster. You have some sorting abilities. Right here you can see, he has no stress. His level, he has stress. So you can manage your characters that way. You can right click them, bring up the different skills you can unlock or upgrade, and then their camping skills, which will come later playthroughs, and his boons and banes, basically. Or you could just dismiss the hero, rename them. They're always the same. And then do diseases and resistances. Diseases, bad, obviously. So if you have any trouble trying to figure out what something is, this little book icon is a great reference. It explains everything in here, what they mean. So it's a definition of every little thing. Like ACC is going to be your accuracy. Explains it right there. So very helpful. And the creepy caretaker. Okay, so for the buildings, you have your blacksmith. You unlock these as you go, by the way. Your blacksmith upgrade your weapons and armors to do more damage and critical, provide more health for characters. It's not too expensive, but if you do it on multiple characters, it gets there quickly. Your guild allows you to upgrade your skills from Smite 1 to Smite 2, things like that. And then you have your Abbey, which is used for praying, holy stuff to relieve stress, to help your characters recuperate. Some characters can only pray, some can only gamble or only drink, things like that. So different things will help their stress levels. You have to choose. Right under it's the graveyard.
Most will end up here, covered in the poisoned earth, awaiting merciful oblivion.
So here's the caretaker with the graveyard. So this will list all your dead characters. I usually avoid it. It's a sad, sad place when you invest time and money into here and suddenly they just get beat to death in a run pretty easily. It's unexpected. And it's hard to avoid sometimes. So be careful how you upgrade. Definitely don't throw all your eggs in one basket on a character. So moving on, sanitarium. Sanitariums used to treat diseases and also to lock in some of those good positive effects, like Warrior of Light, 10% damage if torch is above 75%. So we can actually lock that in. It is super expensive to do that though. Or we could actually remove some of these. They gain them so easily though, so you only want to remove the really bad ones. So here, actually, this is a good example. God-fearing. In town will only pray for stress relief. So he will only go to the Abbey and pray. When you drag the character over, it will show the only slot available. So right here is your Ancestors' Memoirs.
In time, you will know the tragic extent of my failings.
So this is basically all the videos and story explanation as you go along. We have our old road video we saw, and then the intro when you first start the game. And then you have your Nomad Wagon, which just sells trinkets to upgrade your characters, which they'll store in here, and you add them right here. So most of them have a positive and a negative effect, so you have to weigh the options. Some rarely have just positive. The tavern is used to drink, gamble, and the pleasure house to stress relieve your characters. Be mindful that the caretaker, why he is such a pain, is because he will take up a slot in one of your stress relieving places. So you got to be very careful because he'll hog the bar and the pleasure house and sometimes the Abbey's certain slots. But yeah, he's a pain in the butt. And then the most important is the stagecoach, which we'll get to in a sec, and then the survivalist. This helps upgrade your camping skills, which we'll get to in a later playthrough, but stagecoach.
Women and men, soldiers and outlaws, fools and corpses. All will find their way to us now that the road is clear.
Alright, so we will take the Vestal.
A sister of battle, pious and unrelenting.
She's the healer, and then the plague doctor.
What better laboratory than the blood-soaked battlefield?
Alright, so this is where you grab your characters and include them in your roster. We can hold up to 9 guys. Each party is 4 people. So here's where you upgrade your stagecoach. It's the only one we can access and upgrade right now. You can upgrade your barracks and how many people you recruit each week. It is very important, very, very important, I can't stress this enough, to upgrade these at least once when you start off.
Word is traveling. Ambition is stirring in distant cities. We can use this.
So increasing your roster jumps it up to 12. It is very important because when your characters get stressed and you can't use them, there will be a point where they're so stressed they will not go out into a fight, or there's too much to chance it and you don't want to chance an upgraded character like these. So you want to have a full roster to make parties all the time. A lot of the time you will be using the recruitment to just get characters, use them for a run. If they get 2 damage, toss them. If you like them, keep them. But it's expensive. It's 1,000 to 1,500 per character to reduce stress. And you have 4 characters. I mean, that's a lot of money that goes quickly. So you got to be careful. You'll be going through your roster. The more the better you can group up, the better chance of matching characters. So the stagecoach network just means you can recruit more per week. So each quest you do counts as a week. So we're on week 1 basically. When we do the next quest will be week 2. So each week there will be new characters we can grab here. When you actually heal or start stress healing someone, it takes a week. So when you put them in there, you have to do a quest and come back. So it's important that you have multiple characters, because if all your characters are stressed out and won't fight, you cannot continue to stress relieve them because you can't make the next week happen. As far as I know, I don't know of a skip button. I don't think so, but so that's it. And then there's your gold. Here's your heirlooms to help upgrade your buildings. Embark to start a quest. You have a little activity log, your trinket, your help, and your options menu. So one thing to note is it took me a second. You have to right click on a character and then open your inventory to be able to drag and drop trinkets. Otherwise, if you do it this way, oh, it does pop up. I never noticed that. Okay, I'm just special. So, so then we'll go to the embark screen.
Of madness and morbidity. Your work begins.
So here's where you choose your different quests, the rewards, things like that, and you choose your party members. We'll get back to that in a later playthrough, though. And yeah, so that's it. So we'll be coming through the playthrough and I'll explain it. I'm not going to cover every single quest I do, just because there's going to be a lot of filler where I toss characters. I'll be doing the most exciting stuff, and the most, I'd say, bosses and just some good quests. If I did every single one, the series would be unending, it seems. So I'll cover what I can, and I'll be back with the next one pretty soon. But that does it for today. This is Smitethis with Smitethis Gaming. I appreciate it, guys, and I will see you next time.